Hey everybody, tonight we're going to be talking about the stainless steel version of the piano by EDC. A few weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, I reviewed my PEI version of this, and I did an absolutely horrible job of telling you how to take it apart, which I only realized when I took this one apart. So I'd like to correct that when we do get to the portion of tonight's video where I disassemble this. When we're done with this one, we're going to touch base with the PEI one real quick, just so I can show you. But yeah, I like this. Having the PEI one first was a little bit different, but stick around. We'll talk about everything. We'll compare it to a few other things. We'll talk about its construction. There's something special I want to mention about its construction, and we'll weigh it and measure it and do the usual. Stick around. So I've only had this for about a day. Today was my first day with it in hand all day, and I'm a little bit frustrated by it, but I think that's because I bought the PEI version first, and I got used to this one being easy, lightweight. It's tuned just right. It's been worn in. This one, I just tuned it yesterday for the first time. I just carried it today for the first time. It's not worn in at all yet, but I've got a pretty good feel for it. And one of the interesting things I found out because of buying this one was that this has a different number of clicks in one direction than the other direction. So, and it doesn't matter which way you set these plates up. It's interesting. And that's only on the paragraph version. So this paragraph means spaced out, and in the DOM EDC world, they call the other version intense, and that means that all of these detents are very close to each other, and you get twice as many clicks probably. But what I was saying was, what was I saying? Oh, 5 clicks in one direction, 4 clicks in the other direction. I just didn't notice it. But when you're going this way, and when you got it going good for you here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if I flip it over, you get 1, 2. I'm going to hold this bottom piece steady just for demonstration purposes. 1, 2, 3, and then 4, which is a long click. And then again, 1, 2, 3, and then a long 4 click. I used to think, see, that almost gives you a little bit of a pop feeling when it's operating smoothly. And I thought that that pop had something to do with these magnets, and it does to some degree. But I think what I was really experiencing was the fact that one side has 4 detents and the other side has 5. That's an interesting feature about this. I just never would have caught that, I don't think. Another important thing that kind of came to light to me today, mostly because this one is being a bit finicky, a little bit frustrating. Like I've said before, probably on this video, probably on this video, I like sliders, mechanical sliders, to come down in a certain order. I want this outer part to come down until it gets to that point, and then I want both of these to come down the rest of the way. That's sort of my play pattern, I guess is what I've been saying. There we go. And I've got this tuned right now with POM or nylon 3mm balls, and I think like medium springs. It came, strangely enough, with a mixed variety. I mean, it came with a bunch of springs. I'll show you here in a second. But what was installed was a mix that made this operate very poorly. It was like 2 different springs on one side, 2 different springs on the other side. I have no idea what their intention was there. What I wanted to point out was how the construction of some of these is concealing, and this only concerns 3-level sliders. They could be magnetic, they could be mechanical. In fact, I have a few magnetic sliders that operate like this that I didn't even realize until I started looking at this and thinking about this one. But in concerning 3-level sliders, some of them are designed where this middle portion is completely concealed or wrapped by the body on the outside, which is nice in a sense. It looks nice and everything, and for the most part it's going to work fine for everybody. You're not going to notice even if you're picky like me and you want things to come down in the right order, if you don't pay attention, you'll probably never notice, because it's going to come down and hit your hand anyhow and come to a stop. And like I said, I have some mechanical or magnetic 3-level sliders that kind of operate like that. They don't operate perfectly, and it never bothered me because I never paid attention. It's just now that I have the mechanical ones that I guess I've been a little bit more focused. Anyhow, the thing to talk about right now is the fact that the body wraps the middle piece. And because of that, you can't control the middle piece. If that's important to you, if you want these to come down in a certain order, that can be a bit of a problem. You have to get this tuned up just right so that it works the way you want it to. On other sliders, now this is the same way. This is wrapped. And I have this tuned up in such a way that when I'm using this side face up, it operates just like I want. The top comes down to here, and then the rest of the way. Over and over and over again. But if I flip it over, it wants to do the USB thing, which is fine if that's what you want. But it doesn't quite operate the way I prefer it to. See, if I leave my hand open-ended, it does the USB thing. But if the ordinary user, will probably never even notice that, because like I said, your fingers are down here to stop it. So you'll probably be just happy, just fine, not even noticing that. But if you're picky, things to take note of. So this one has a full body wrap, and is that it for mechanicals? Well, this one of course does. Now, I did have some, I mentioned I had some magnetic ones that I did not realize that were constructed the same, and that would be, one of them would be the 01 EDC original magnetic 3-level slider. Same situation, the middle part's completely concealed on the outside, and you can see these don't come down in the order that I prefer. If I flip it over, maybe sometimes it does. For the most part, it's not. But like I said, I didn't even notice or care one bit about that the whole time I've owned this, and I still don't. It doesn't. I've gotten used to it like that, and it's a nice rugged little design. It doesn't bother me, and I don't notice it. So, to each his own. But there's a version. There's a magnetic version that has a wrapped body. Here's another magnetic version that has a wrapped body. That's the S Nano by Ant Design. The middle part is completely concealed on the inside. This one kind of comes closed. It closes at its own however it wants to. But again, I wasn't thinking about it the way I do now, and I've gotten used to it this way, and it works just fine. So I'm totally happy with that. Now, in contrast to those, let's bring out 3 mechanicals that have 3 levels. However, these 3 mechanicals all have exposed middle edges. The advantage to that is, while this thing may not close the way you want it to on its own, let's flip this over and get it open in the long direction. It may not close in the order that you want it to all the time. You can squeeze the sides and then have complete control over it. So that's the big advantage. Same thing with this one, the CP5 from Mackie. If you don't hold the outsides, that one kind of operates normally. But either way, you get my point. You can feel, you can touch that middle piece, you can hold it and control it, control the order in which they come down. This one is the SG2, or the Handy 2.0 from 01 EDC. It's their relatively new 3-level mechanical, and you see it, this one closes kind of funny, but if I squeeze it, I can control it and make it close exactly in the order that I like. Or, in this case, just flip it over, and then it does close in the right order for me. But I'm probably being picky. Anyhow, it's a little distinction I wanted to point out to you guys, something to think about. Whether the middle portion of a 3-level slider, whether it's mechanical or magnetic, is it enclosed? Because if it is, you kind of lose a little bit of control. Food for thought. Okay, let's talk about what it came with. When the PEI one came, it was in a nice little tin, which was neat because that's how spinners used to all come in tins. But it's not the greatest way to package, and the tin was dented a little bit. But I did get like 5 packs of little Ziploc baggies of different springs and balls. This one came with 4 little baggies, so a little bit less, but still fantastic to have the extra parts. Also, they downgraded their packaging a little bit, which is fine. I really don't care. Probably be safer in the mail in this thing anyhow. But here we have all these springs they gave us, and usually you can make a little bit of sense out of it. The first number you see, 0.3, 0.3, 0.4, 0.25, that's the actual wire diameter of the spring. So if you take a pair of calipers and measure that in millimeters, that's the gauge diameter of the wire. The middle number is the length of the spring. Now these are all I'm sorry, the middle number is not the length of the spring. The middle number is the diameter. So 3 millimeters diameter, the balls are all 3 millimeter diameter. But the last number is the height. So 3.5, 4, 3.5, 3.5. Those are the different heights. So you got again, the first number is the wire diameter, which that's sort of an indicator of the strength of the spring. You know, the thicker the wire diameter, this 0.25 is a thinner wire, so it's going to be a lot springier, a lot softer than this 0.4. 0.4 is the thickest out of all these. So thicker wire means a stronger spring. Likewise, a 4 millimeter long spring, this last number is 4 millimeter, a 4 millimeter long spring is longer than a 3.5 millimeter long spring, and therefore might be a little bit more springier than the shorter one. So you have all these different things to try, and then they give you glass balls, black ceramic balls, white ceramic balls, and stainless steel balls. Actually, they're they're probably steel because they're highly magnetic. When I got the PEI one, there was an extra bag that had some springs. I don't know what size they were, but they also gave me some POM balls, and that's what I ended up putting in this, POM being a type of nylon. And that's also, since I have my own nylon balls that are 3 millimeter, that's what I put in here myself. I kept all these out. And like I said, I think they're probably the 0.3 medium springs, 0.3 wire diameter, and I don't remember which length I put in, but none of that matters because you have to tune these to your own liking. But that's what it came with. You got this nice, like I said, this nice box, pretty standard these days. The strange thing was that when we take this apart, you'll see there's 2 springs and balls for this surface plate, and then separately there's 2 springs and balls for this surface plate. And when this came to me, it had some 4 millimeter. Actually, it was like this. There's 2 4 millimeter long ones and 2 3 millimeter or 3.5 millimeter long ones. Very short. I think they're 3. And there was a long and a short one on this side, and a long and a short one on this side. And when you test the strength of these ones, it's pretty dramatic. The longer ones were pretty soft and springy, and the shorter ones were really stiff, even though they were short. And it just made this thing really rough. I don't know why they set it up like that initially, but what I ended up doing was putting all the same springs on all the same, I made everything the same as much as I could, based on what I had here. But yeah, that was a little bit strange that it came set up like that. Okay, at this point, let's do some quick comparisons, weights and measurements, and then we'll get to the fun part where we take it all apart. So the usual suspects are the Mackie CP3. Here we have them side by side. The nylon balls do help this be fairly quiet. And we have the Metal Toys Top B, Metal Toys DZ Top B. These are just the two standard ones I always bring out for comparison because it seems like most people have one or the other. And we've already basically compared it to all those other ones I had out, so I won't bring those back out again. Let's go ahead and measure it. I am reading 27 millimeters by 45 in a fully extended version, fully extended mode, between 70 and 71 millimeters, and overall thickness about 14. Now, how much does it weigh? There are magnets in it, but they're small and they're located in the middle. I'm just going to put this on its side. That'll be good enough. 110 grams. Let's just for fun compare that to the PEI one. A lot less. So there you go. Now it's time to take it apart. For this, I find a Phillips 1 seems to fit the screws the best. There's a screw right inside here, a screw in there. It's black, it's a little hard to see. And you just want to engage that. And it may not want to come out for you, cooperate for you, because there's a magnet right next to it. There we go. All right. Now, I'm going to show you after we do this very quickly how to take the plastic one apart, because I really butchered that when I did the original review for it. But the point is, this top piece is made up of two parts, and they will stay together right now, even though we've taken the screw out. Everything will stay together. What you basically want to do right now is take this top piece and slide it off, but there's a ball and a spring on both sides here that you want to keep your thumb on top of to keep them from springing out and hitting you in the eye. So I'm going to keep my hand over top of this and sort of roll my thumb over it as I pull this out of the way. There. Now these two pieces stayed together. That's a big difference from what I showed you about how to take the PEI one apart. I made it way too complicated. It's as simple as this. So those two pieces come off. I lift my finger off this gently. There's my two nylon balls. There's my springs. And the other side is identical, so we're not going to bother with that. But since we have this apart, see, the PEI one comes apart so easy that it sort of fell apart on me, and I don't know, I felt it was important for it to be taken apart in a certain direction. But this, if I can get it started, these inner parts are interchangeable. And the stainless steel one is just a little bit tight in there. There, we almost got her. I should have brought over my little trusty Swiss Army knife. So you can buy different plates that fit inside here, and they can be different materials. And let's cover that right now. Unfortunately, I'm going to put these up here across the top. There are none of these available right now. They're all out of stock, and these are from INS Work. In fact, that's where I bought both of these, the PEI and the stainless steel version. They both came from INS Work on AliExpress. But unfortunately, again, these are all out of stock. But if they do come back into stock, at least you'll have a reference here. You can get these inner surface texture plates in different materials, and here is what was available. These were all originally like $30 a piece. So I'm going to show you the same. There's going to be two of each. One will show you this pattern, which is they call the paragraph, which is spaced out detents, and the other one is the intense version, where there are twice as many detents, and you'll notice the detents will run all the way across the length here. There is that strange little gap that causes us to have 4 clicks in one direction and 5 clicks in the other direction. And it's tricky to figure out. It's like I said, it's hard for me to wrap my head around it because those are located right in the middle. And I don't know. Someday I'll figure it out. Anyhow, let's talk about all the different kinds of these that you could get at one time and possibly will be able to get at some other time. So I think the first ones were POM, and you can get the POM in paragraph, and then right next to that will be the POM in intense. And then after that will be the, now they call it, they don't really have a good description for it, but to me, looking at the picture, I'm almost certain that it's Teflon. So here's your Teflon paragraph and your Teflon intense. And finally, they offered a fiber, they called it fiber glass, probably glass fiber, G10. It's green, but a G10 version in the paragraph, and again in the intense. Those were $30 a peep. And to be honest, I wouldn't have bought them anyhow, I don't think. The only bodies they had available right now were stainless steel or PEI. But like here, I'm going to show you next another photo when these must have been new. They were available in a lot of different materials. So here's this other photo, and that's for just a screen cap from their video, I think, back when they initially released these. And you can see it looks like they had stainless steel, PEI, G10, probably Zirc, probably titanium, who knows. But maybe those will all come back. Either way, there is how you take it apart. Next thing will be putting it back together. So we're just going to do things sort of in the opposite direction. We're going to put these springs back in. And then we'll put the, like I said, I like nylon balls for this. Put nylon balls back on top there. This just pops back in here. It'll get it lined up. It's a pretty tight fit. Good, nice tight tolerances there. And then I'm going to hold these down gently with my thumb. Keep these together. Remember, they're two loose parts. Get the dovetail lined up. Put it all together. Slide it back. And then push it over the balls and move your thumb out of the way while you're doing that. So now it's back together. And I can get in here. It's the other side. There it is. Now I can put my screw back in. Again, the magnet wants to steal your screw from you, so it kind of helps to put your screw on the end of your driver there first. Get everything lined up and then get it in there. And then just snug that down. Okay, I think. There we go. Everything's back together. So that is how that works. Now, as sort of a little bonus, I'd like to try to correct or at least show you kind of where I went wrong when I told you how to take this one apart. Now, these are identical. You should be able to take these parts and interchange them with this one or any other one. I'm just going to take out one of these screws. Now, on the PEI version, the screw is accompanied by, let me pick it up here, I'm having trouble getting my tweezers, is accompanied by a little washer. Now, where did the screw go? That little sucker, oh, there it is, attached to the magnet. So, I got thoroughly confused here with this one because these parts are a lot looser. Remember, this top piece and this bottom piece are two pieces. And when I was fooling around with it, it came loose on me, like this. It didn't happen with the stainless steel one because those parts are a lot tighter together, but the plastic one's loose, and it kind of fell off on me. And well, either that, I thought I needed to take it off. I needed to take that off in order to take this apart. You do not need to take this apart. You do not need to take these two pieces apart in order to disassemble this one. This is exactly the same. If you accidentally knock this off, just be very, very careful about putting it back on because you have to line it up with the dovetail, the middle piece, to get it over to where it comes down. And if I were to lift this off from this point, it would probably break the PEI on one side or the other right there. It would probably break it, and it would be a very easy mistake to make. So don't go, oh, that's loose, and it just needs, I'll just pop it off. You'll break it. It has to be slid off the back here of the middle part, and when you put it back on, it has to go back on that way. But my advice is, don't take that apart at all. You don't need to. If you want to take this apart, same as the stainless steel one I just showed you. Underneath here, there's the balls and springs. Push it down with my thumb, line up the dovetails again, and then push this. Whoops, I screwed it up, didn't I? Whoops. No problem. Actually, minor problem because I dropped the other ball. Give me one. Okay, there, I found it. It was on the carpet right next to my foot. Whoops. Just push those down with your thumb. Slide that over top of it. So you see the screw hole there. And again, with the PEI one, you want to remember to put that little washer on there. And it's a spring washer, so there's a little split. There's a little split there, and it's bent slightly, so it's meant to be a spring washer, and that means you don't need to screw this down super tight. Get it down to where it's snug, and then just snug it slightly, because that spring is going to take up some of the space, and then just make sure everything runs nice and smooth like it did before. And it does. So there you go. I think I covered everything. That is the DOM EDC piano in stainless steel PEI. That's it. As always, thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching. Bye.